However, the reality is slightly more complex than that. Many home deliveries fail the first time and the driver has to make a second or third attempt to deliver the purchase. Customers who choose speedy delivery or those who buy single items from different places also contribute towards increasing the carbon footprint.
The world we live in is changing, and it is changing rapidly. Whether this is driven by technology, globalization, or in response to specific crises, there is no doubt that the workplace of today needs to constantly adapt to ongoing changes in order to remain efficient and competitive. Agile working is not just about allowing employees to work from home and decide their own working hours. Another example of agile working might be workspaces designed to suit the different kinds of work taking place. This is an environment that helps people to be at their best and most productive.
Coaching is a useful tool in today's challenging world of business. Companies are merging and restructuring, and people change jobs far more than before. Our work has changed and we might feel less prepared or demotivated, unsure if what we have been doing is the right way forward.
With the development of smartphones and internet technologies, many companies are starting to form virtual teams with team members living in different time zones, and employees are now finding themselves answering emails, attending meetings, and working on reports from home outside their usual working hours. Successful business requires collaboration and teamwork. For team relationships to work well, we need high levels of trust. But how we build trust can differ from person to person, culture to culture. Becoming aware of this can help us see how to improve trust with the people we work with. There are many ways of building trust, and the approach we choose might depend on the relationship we are building, the culture we are used to, and our personal preferences. However, if the methods we choose do not match the expectations of the people around us, it can lead to misunderstandings and negative assessments.
Many of us use both approaches, depending on the context. For example, in a job interview, we might focus on establishing trust by demonstrating our competence through work experience. When we are working within a team, we might prioritize showing our character to form close professional relationships.
An agile workspace might include open areas with small tables for people to gather and work together, and standing desks to improve energy levels and productivity. It might include quiet zones for a bit of thinking time and social areas for staff to chat and relax together. Like most things with agile working, there is no one-size-fits-all approach.
A coach is sometimes compared to a mentor and a consultant. However, unlike having a mentor, working with a coach is normally for a short, specified amount of time. A coach is also quite different to a consultant, who looks at the whole team or company and how it does things. In addition, mentors and consultants often give advice, something a coach doesn't normally do.
On the first day of a course, trainer David aimed to reassure his new trainees that they were in good hands. He talked enthusiastically about the big corporations he had previously worked in and the famous clients he had trained. He mentioned the good feedback he'd received and showed the results he was able to provide for his clients.
There are many benefits to employing an external business coach, like their objectivity and fresh perspective. But business leaders and managers have also discovered that if they acquire coaching skills themselves, this can help them improve the performance of their teams. Managers are now taking coaching training in order to have internal coaching conversations with team members who might be having difficulties.
However, the question of how to deal with returns efficiently and without waste is a challenge that many companies have not wanted to face. As online shoppers become aware of what companies are doing, and campaign groups demand urgent action in the face of the climate and ecological emergency, there is increasing pressure for companies to take responsibility for the environmental impact of their activities.
They must go to hospital. No water and no air conditioning are inside the truck. On that day, the weather is 40 degrees Celsius outside. Police arrest 3 people. They don't know yet if they did anything bad. These events happen often. Since our graduate admission school is not centralized, each of the university's 6 schools and colleges admits students to its own programs. For information about specific program degrees, graduate applications, graduate admission requirements and procedures, graduate scholarships and the status of your application, visit the individual school websites. Across the world, there are currently over 65 million people who have had to leave their homes. Some have settled in new countries, many more are living in refugee camps, waiting for it to be safe enough to go home or to be resettled in a different country. Most people know yoga as a kind of exercise which aims at developing strength and flexibility. To practice yoga, you learn a series of postures, where you put your body into different positions. The correct breathing is also important. However, yoga is really about more than just exercise. Yoga is good for the mind and body. Regular practice of yoga helps people to improve their balance and stamina. Although you won't really get out of breath, like you might playing football or running, it does help to keep your heart healthy and you can lose weight. It can also help with back pain. The breathing taught in yoga can help people to reduce stress and anxiety. There are lots of different possible breathing patterns you can do. Yoga also improves concentration and helps people to sleep better, so it's great for anyone who's under pressure at work or in their studies. The breathing taught in yoga can help people to reduce stress and anxiety. There are lots of different possible breathing patterns you can do. Yoga also improves concentration and helps people to sleep better, so it's great for anyone who's under pressure at work or in their studies. The history of yoga goes back at least 5,000 years, and some people claim it is nearer 10,000 years ago. It was first developed in northern India and at this stage was a spiritual as well as a physical form of exercise, connected with both Hinduism and Buddhism. 70% of our planet is covered by one huge, continuous body of seawater, the ocean. It holds 1.35 billion cubic kilometers of water. Nearly half of the ocean is more than 3 kilometers deep. The deepest known point of the ocean is in the Mariana Trench, 11 kilometers below sea level. In 2008, the United Nations officially recognized the date, and it has been growing ever since, from 100 events in 2008 to over 1,000 events in more than 120 countries 10 years later. The day is celebrated in a variety of ways, including special events at aquariums and zoos, beach and river cleanups, school activities, conservation programs, art contests and film festivals. One of the main aims of the day is to remind people of the important role the ocean plays in our lives. Life began in the ocean, and the ocean is home to the majority of plants and animals on Earth, from single-cell organisms to the blue whale. Marine plants provide us with 70% of the oxygen we breathe. Carbon monoxide is a colorless gas that is set free when wood, petrol or coal are not completely burned. It is also in products like cigarettes. Because of it, less oxygen enters our blood and it makes us confused and sleepy. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas that gets into the atmosphere when we burn coal, oil or wood. Clean air is normally made up of nitrogen, 76%, oxygen, 22%, carbon dioxide and a few other gases. When harmful elements get into the air, they may cause health problems and can also damage the environment, buildings and soil. They make the ozone layer thinner and lead to the warming of the Earth's atmosphere and climate changes. Carbon dioxide is an important greenhouse gas. Light that enters the atmosphere, it is converted to heat. Higher amounts of CO2 make the atmosphere denser and keep it from getting out. CO2 is a gas that is highly responsible for global warming. Since the Industrial Revolution of the 1800s, the amount of CO2 in our atmosphere has risen by 40%. In the past, there were 13 government-funded searches for the sub, but, until now, none of them proved successful. When the submarine was found, Navy officials held a commemorative service for the crew that the Australian Navy had lost. Families were contacted and told that the oldest naval mystery in Australian history had finally been solved. Moscow's metro system is something special. Built in the 1930s, it was the first underground railway system in the Soviet Union. The stations have been restored as underground art museums with beautiful wall paintings and mosaic ceilings. Boat trips along the Moskva River offer a completely different view of Moscow. You can see the city's most interesting features while enjoying a comfortable ride. Almost 2 months after the successful test, later America decided to force Japan to surrender by dropping 2 nuclear bombs. The first one, a uranium bomb called Little Boy, was dropped over Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. 3 days later, Fat Man, a plutonium bomb, destroyed most of Nagasaki. The Manhattan Project helped to end World War II and marked the beginning of the atomic age. In Big Bend, Texas, where Mexico and the United States meet, local residents are mostly opposed to building a wall to keep illegal immigrants from entering the United States. Rangers who work at the national park say that the terrain is very harsh and it is nearly impossible to build a wall in this area. On the other side, building such a wall would not only affect the environment but would also damage tourism, a major source of income for the region. Archaeology is the study of buildings and objects that people made a long time ago. Archaeologists take a look at how people lived before writing was invented. They examine their daily life and what they left behind. They also try to find out why cultures and civilizations fell apart or why people of the time hunted certain animals. Television is one of our world's most important means of communication. It shows us information programs, like the news, documentaries, and sports events. We can watch films, listen to interviews and hear the sounds of events that happen far away. Television teaches us about countries and cultures and we can enjoy entertainment, like serials, comedies, game shows or sitcoms.